Welcome back to my channel Knowledge Chronicle.
If you remember in our previous session, part 1, we explored the magical structures inside flowering plants. We learned about stamen, Microsporangium and pollen grain on the male side, and Pistil, Megasporangium Ovule and Embryo Sac on the female side. Today, in part 2, we dive even deeper into the amazing world of flowering plants and their secret life pollination. So buckle up, because this journey is going to be super exciting. What is pollination? In flowering plants, the male and female gametes, that is, the sperm and the egg, are produced inside the pollen grain and embryo sac respectively. But here's the twist, both gametes are non-motile. Yes, they can't move on their own. So how do they meet to create a new life? The answer is pollination, the incredible biological mechanism where pollen grains are transferred from the anther, the male part, to the stigma, the receptive tip of the female pistil. Imagine it like a relay race. The baton, pollen, must reach the next runner, stigma, to win the race of life. Kinds of pollination. Depending on the source of pollen, pollination can be classified into 3 types. 1. Autogamy, self-pollination within the same flower. In autogamy, the pollen from the anther is transferred to the stigma of the same flower. However, complete autogamy is quite rare because there must be perfect timing between pollen release and stigma readiness. The anther and stigma must be close enough. Some fascinating examples include viola, common pansy, oxalis, and commelina. These plants produce 2 types of flowers: chasmogamous flowers, open flowers where anthers and stigma are exposed; cleistogamous flowers, flowers that never open. In cleistogamous flowers, since the flowers stay closed, the pollen automatically reaches the stigma. No pollinator is needed. Advantage? Guaranteed seed production, even if no external pollinators are available. Do you think cleistogamy is advantageous or disadvantageous for plants? Comment below. 2. Geitonogamy, pollination between flowers on the same plant. Here, the pollen moves from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower on the same plant. Though a pollinator might be involved, genetically, it's still like self-pollination because the source is the same plant. 3. Xenogamy, pollination between different plants. The most important form, xenogamy, is the transfer of pollen grains from one plant to a genetically different plant. This introduces genetic diversity, a key factor for healthier and more adaptable plant populations. Agents of pollination. Plants have developed a brilliant network of helpers, pollination agents, which can be abiotic, non-living, or biotic living. A. Abiotic pollination, wind and water. 1. Wind pollination, anemophily. Plants like grasses, corn, and wheat rely on wind. Their flowers are small and non-showy, produce lots of lightweight, non-sticky pollen, have exposed stamens and large feathery stigmas to catch pollen. Example, ever seen the tassels on a corn cob waving in the wind? Those are stigmas waiting to catch pollen. 2. Water pollination, hydrophily. Very rare in flowering plants, found only in about 30 genera. Examples, Vallisneria, Hydrilla, and Zostera seagrasses. In Vallisneria, male flowers float on water and bump into female flowers. In Zostera, pollen grains are long and ribbon-like to move easily underwater. Interestingly, aquatic plants like water lily and water hyacinth still use insects or wind, not water. B. Biotic pollination, animal assistance. Most plants use animals, especially insects, for pollination. Common pollinators include bees, the champions, butterflies and moths, birds like hummingbirds and sunbirds, bats, flies, beetles, ants. Some even involve primates, tree-dwelling rodents, and reptiles like lizards. Features of animal-pollinated flowers: bright colors to attract attention, fragrance to lure insects, nectar and pollen as rewards, sometimes foul smell to attract beetles and flies. Example, the giant flower of Amorphophallus, 6 feet tall, attracts flies by producing a smell similar to rotting meat. Another beautiful example is the yucca plant and the yucca moth. Both absolutely need each other to survive. Plants have built-in strategies to prevent self-pollination and encourage cross-pollination, thus maintaining healthy genetic variation. These include temporal separation, where pollen release and stigma receptivity happen at different times. Physical separation, with anthers and stigmas located at different positions. Self-incompatibility, a genetic mechanism where the pistil recognizes and rejects its own pollen. Unisexuality, seen in monoecious plants like maize, where male and female flowers are separate but on the same plant. and dioecious plants like papaya, where male and female flowers are on different plants. Pollination is just the beginning. The pistil must recognize the pollen. If it's the right match compatible, it allows the pollen to germinate. If it's the wrong match, incompatible, it stops pollen germination or tube growth. This conversation between pollen and pistil is called pollen-pistil interaction, driven by chemical signals. Steps. Pollen lands on the stigma. It germinates and forms a pollen tube through the style. The pollen tube grows towards the ovary. It enters the ovule through a small opening called the micropyle. The male gametes travel inside the pollen tube to reach the egg inside the embryo sac. Thus, the journey from a tiny pollen grain to fertilization is truly a miracle of nature. In plant breeding programs, humans help in controlled pollination using techniques like emasculation, which involves removing anthers before they release pollen using forceps. Bagging, where emasculated flowers are covered with butter paper bags to prevent unwanted pollination. When the stigma becomes receptive, desired pollen is dusted onto it, and the bagging is continued until fruits develop. This is how we create new, better varieties of crops, fruits, and flowers. Pollination may seem simple, but it's an incredible process that ensures survival, diversity, and beauty in the plant kingdom. From the tiniest bee to the swiftest wind, nature has perfected a dance that connects life across the planet. If you found today's session fascinating, imagine what else nature has in store for us. Your one like, share, and subscribe will help us create more valuable content. Keep exploring, keep learning, only on Knowledge Chronicle. See you in the next episode.